history.
Magnificent Melbourne, and of course fabulous Flemington you can see there as the crowds gather for the Amy Victoria Derby, the focus of today, but a couple of races to go until then. We've got the clock coming up. As you can see, the countdown continues. Just under an hour and a half to go to the big one. But of course, race 4 is next, and Peter and Jenny are in the mounting yards. And Peter, this is a race for mares. Pretty open race. What do you think?
Yeah, they generally are open races, Sandra, and this one's no exception. And there's the one that Jen, well, I think a few people have followed you here.
Well, I hope they get a run for their money. I mean, she's a horse that does like to get out on her own and get along. So if she gets that, she'll give you a bit of a sight.
We'll come to her in a moment.
I'm a bit nervous now.
Let's have a look at Spectrum, the top one. Patrick Payne takes the ride for George Hanlon. Was wide throughout in the Tessio at Moonee Valley, and I thought stuck on pretty well.
Yes, I thought it was a pretty good effort there, Peter, because she was a late scratching at Caulfield before that, and she might have just needed that run there. She's a classy mare. She's definitely capable of better, and she's a chance.
Forever, when we talk about Gold City, Jem, we'll talk about one performance the day about 20 months ago where she nearly knocked off Octagonal in the Australian Cup.
Yes, that was a grand effort there. And then, of course, she had a big layoff too, Peter, so something must have gone amiss there. 2 runs back, and she's going to be a fitter horse here, but I'd prefer to see her probably again today.
Canny Anna at number 5 is the favourite, entitled to be, and due for a change of luck. 3 seconds at its last 3.
Very super consistent mare. She got well back there at Caulfield and ran on. I thought it was a good effort, and she's always thereabouts, so she's a definite chance.
Nothing wrong with Abolition's win at Moonee Valley, but the 16 gate's not going to be too much help here.
No, but as you said, that effort was great because she was 4 wide, she had no cover, and she joined in the lead on the turn, and it was a tough effort, so she's there with some chance.
What about Zelinda, to be ridden by Shane Dye for Bill Mitchell? In contrast, she's got the inside alley.
Well, 2 starts ago, it was a good effort there at Randwick because she got well back and ran on strongly. She might get a good run through here, so I've left her there with some chance.
Now, give us a quick reason why Quiet Style has halved its price.
Oh, well, I did mention it's a very big odds. As I said, if Quiet Style does get her own way in front, she's a definite chance in this race. And last start, she was on the inside. It was the worst going, so there were excuses. Her runs prior to that were very good.
I thought Lucy's Way, number 13, looked particularly fit in the Jack Denham stable.
I thought she might have left her run a little bit late at Caulfield in her last start. Just managed to get there second. It was a pretty good effort, maybe a place chance in this.
And Graceful Encounter is my pick in the race, Jen, and she's showing pretty good each way odds. She's talented.
She's talented. Just keep an eye on her, though. She's only had the 5 starts. She's won 3 of them. She can get a little bit upset before the races, so watch her, but she's there with some chance.
So Quiet Style is the one at big odds for Jennifer. That's my tip there. Graceful Encounter going to the gates. There's the favourite, Canny Anna, as they go to the stalls for the Hardy Brothers Classic. We'll take a break and be back live around Australia on Network 10 on the opening day of the carnival. Well, it's turned into a magnificent day here at Flemington. We had a big grey cloud hovering overhead a few minutes ago, but thankfully it's blown around the racecourse. There is the City of Melbourne in the background, and here are the tote figures for race 4. Let's have a look at them before they go in. Spectrum at $7.30, Gold City $12.10, Our Dynamic Lady $15 or thereabouts. Canny Anna has eased out considerably out to $4.70. Abolition in the betting at 13, Zelinda $9.40. Big odds Flirty Bird, each way odds Chili's, and then we go over the page and Quiet Style. Jennifer's knocked this down from 54 to 23. Bonanova $8.80. Chippy's Daughter big odds, Lucy's Way 11, big odds Soul Queen, Graceful Encounter in the betting $7.90. Roy Higgins, what did you make of them?
I thought Canny Anna actually stood out in the yard. She loves this track here at Flemington. She looked excellent. Marked her on top of the 11 Bananova. This mare had no luck at Moonee Valley there recently, and she too paraded well. Look for a big run from 3, Gold City. 2 runs back in. She had no luck at the Valley either. And the 13, Lucy's Way. This will be the one getting home. I went 5, 11, 3 and 13. Pete?
Starter goes to his platform, Roy. Up to the commentary box, Dan Malecki.
Thank you, Pete. Good money for Zelinda here. Most of them are ready. Abolition, the last one to link up. So they're set to go. The mares are ready. 1,600 metres, a Group 2 event for the mares. Gates crash back now and they're away and racing. Abolition a little slow. Our Dynamic Lady, Soul Queen, Canny Anna all get back early. Zelinda jumped well. It's tackled now by Quiet Style. A little wider out. Bonanova's forward today, and so is Graceful Encounter. Lucy's Way just behind them on the inside. Chili's is out 3 deep as they go towards the 1,200 metres. Back to about midfield now was Gold City. Next the inside was Spectrum. A length away Caniana from Flirty Bird. Soul Queen inside Abolition, third last but out wider. And 2 lengths to Our Dynamic Lady. Quiet Style settles down in front, 1,000 metres to go. Leading a half a length to Graceful Encounter. Zelinda with the box seat running third. Fourth is Bonanova. Lucy's Way fifth on the inside of Chippy's Daughter. 3 wide was Chili's. A length away Spectrum. Midfield on the inside in the cerise and white colours. Gold City around it. Then came Caniana. Wide Abolition from Flirty Bird, Soul Queen and Our Dynamic Lady. 700 metres to go. And Quiet Style the leader. Just on a length, Graceful Encounter. Zelinda's had a dream run. Bonanova running fourth. Chili's out 3 deep. And then Lucy's Way, Chippy's Daughter. Spectrum next, but on the inside from Caniana. Gold City coming 4 wide. 5 wide will be Abolition when they turn for home. Well back Soul Queen and Our Dynamic Lady to the outside. Inside the 400. It's Quiet Style tackled hotly now by Bonanova. Bonanova swept up to hit the lead. Zelinda trying to get out. Then Lucy's Way running on now. Bonanova in front of Graceful Encounter. Lucy's Way, then Caniana. Zelinda struggling, but it's Bonanova in front. Graceful Encounter. Lucy's Way, then Zelinda. Bonanova clear with 50 to go, though. Bonanova will win it. Bonanova first beats Lucy's Way and Graceful Encounter. Then Caniana and Spectrum. Zelinda had every chance. Then Quiet Style and Abolition. Chippy's Daughter, Flirty Bird. Chili's and Gold City, Soul Queen, and Our Dynamic Lady failed to run on, pulling up near the tail end of the field.
Beautiful ride by Damien Oliver, Danny. Gave it every chance, had a beautiful run all the way. Went to the line very strongly and, you know, held off Lucy's Way. She got home all right. A few of them, the horses on the inside seem to definitely have an advantage. When they seem to get out wide, they just don't seem to be making as much ground.
This filly or mare usually gets a little further back in her races, but Damien Oliver, he's very quick to work out any particular patterns riding her close to the lead today, and well, she appreciated that.
Yes, very good ride, and you can see him just asking for an effort here. The one on the outside, like he's in the black and white red cap. Then you've got Lucy's Way coming home strongly. I thought Caniana, she's the one with the 4 white socks. I thought she was going to get home well, but she just seemed to die on a run a little bit. The other one that all the money was for, Zelinda, was it? It had a beautiful run all the way, but just failed to run. It might have been a little bit close for her, Dan. She's generally back a bit. And Shane tried to ride her up a bit close. Here's a great head-on shot. It's Damien. He's just gone to the front in the black and white hoops, red cap. The one just come outside of him then is Lucy's Way. Brett Pebble again. He's trying for a 3 on the end there, but Damien just too good for him. Thought she was just going to run out a little in front of her then, but he straightened her up and she's gone to the line very strongly. And right behind them is Zelina. She had a lovely run. And then the one on the outside with the pink blinkers is George Hansen's mare Spectrum. She's had a lot of big weights and it's very hard for them to make ground. Like she dropped 1.5 kilos today from 60 the other day. And she's running good races. But she's a beautiful looking mare, this Bonanova.
11, 13 and 16 are official. 11, 13, 16. Fourth in Caniana, number 5, and fifth in number 1 Spectrum. The time was 1:37.1, 1:37.1. And once again, mainly the horses up near the lead and down on the rails were the ones to figure in the finish, although Caniana did pinch a bit of ground, and likewise Spectrum. But again, it was a gem of a ride in the previous Brett Prebble Starbinder. And again, Damien Oliver just summing it up perfectly, as you would expect the good jockeys to do, Peter Donegan.
Yes, it makes all the difference when you've got a great rider. I'm sure Graham Begg would agree with that, because he had a bit of an input into how the horse was ridden today.
That's right. Damien said to me before the race it was lack of speed, and he thought he'd like to go forward in the race. And I told him she usually races back in the field with a fast run race, and she hits the line well. So, but I left it up to him in the finish, and he's done the job.
Does make a difference when you've got top riders.
Oh, no doubt about that. And on these days, that's when you want the best riders.
It's a good game win, though. I like the way she found the line.
That's right. She kept on diving, and it's against the pattern, the way she normally likes to race, and she showed a bit of courage today.
They say breeding counts for a bit in this Caper, Graham, and she's beautifully bred.
That's correct. She's a full sister to 2 Group 1 winners in Telesto and Fraternity, and it's the same family as Octagonal. You know, it's just a wonderful family.
What will you look towards for her in the future?
I think probably this will be her last run this spring. It's only a 3rd run back. She's going to get ready for the Coolmore Classic in Sydney in the autumn. Now that she's won this race, she shouldn't have any problems getting a start in those good races.
Always good to win a race on Derby Day. You did it last year.
That's right, it's fabulous, and it's just great to be here.
Good on you, Graham.
Thank you.
Graham Begg, the winning trainer, and that's a fine performance by that horse. Beautifully bred, and here she comes back to scale now. And as we said, when you've got a top-class rider, you heard that he had input into the riding instructions. He summed up the situation beautifully, and it's paid dividends. The numbers are 11, 13 and 16. The time for the journey was 1 minute 37.1, 3.1 seconds outside the record. As Damien Oliver brings Bonanova back to scale, we'll take a break. You're watching Amy Victoria Derby Day, live and exclusive around Australia on Network 10. Shane Dye climbs up on the scales, and the rider of Caniana, Greg Childs, also up there to complete the first 6 horses weighing in, as they do now, with prize money down to 5th. And the correct weight signal is there. Correct weight there, brought to you by Maggi on race 4, the Hardy Brothers Classic, and the winner Bonanova finishing off her race in fine style. She really ran home very well, as you heard Graham Begg say. Beautifully bred mare by Starway out of St Clair. She's related to a couple of very smart horses, Dan, and she won well.
She certainly did. $9.40 she returns for the $1 dividend for the win, $3.30 the place. Lucy's Way $3.40 and Graceful Encounter $2.60. She fought on quite well. 11, 13, 16. The Quinella return $53.90, trifecta $675.20, and the running double $188.30.
Dividends after the running of race 4. Jen, there's been a little bit of news in that we've checked up with Colin Alderson with our unicorn, and he'll be tipped out into the paddock now, and I think that's the way to go with him. Well, they really haven't got much option, I don't think.
No, we can bring him back in the autumn, and hopefully he'll be able to pick up a few good races there.
I think they were thinking about Hong Kong or an international race, but yeah, there's plenty more time for our unicorn. He is a smart galloper. It's just been one of those springs as far as he's been concerned. Speaking of spring, hasn't it turned into a beautiful day?
Oh, it's magnificent. The sun's still out. We were a bit worried. There was a big cloud coming over before, but it's all okay.
Yes, and we're coming up to the Wakeful, and there are plenty of the 2-legged fillies here, and the 4-legged fillies will capture our attention in the Wakeful, the traditional lead up to the Crown Oak Stakes. And it makes you wonder what sort of a crowd we're going to get here on Oaks Day. It seems to get bigger and bigger each year. And if, as predicted, the weather is going to be good, then I think we might nudge the 80,000 mark.
Yes, I think it's going to be fantastic. And also, don't forget the last day, Martin Power will be in action.
We've got a lot to look forward to. Now it's time for the presentation after the Hardy Brothers Classic.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Hardy Brothers, as I said beforehand, go hand in hand with the VRC Carnival. Great to have them on board with the Group 2 Classic here this afternoon. Mr. Stuart Bishop, the director of Hardy Brothers, will be making the presentation, representing the VRC, Mrs. Sally Churnside.
On behalf of Hardy Brothers, I'd like to be delighted to present the winner of the Hardy Brothers Classic with the magnificent Waterford Crystal Millennium Bowl. For all involved, it represents dedication, determination, teamwork, and skill and talent. All the characteristics of excellence in jewellery making. Hardy Brothers is considered a considerable track record as jeweller for more than 140 years. As proud maker of the Melbourne Cup. We've been doing that for 20 years. My sincere congratulations to the owners represented here today by Neville Begg, and I'd like to present the trophy presented by Hardy Brothers.
Wonderful pictures from the super slow motion camera of the horse striding to the line there, Bonanova, to win the Hardy Brothers. And there is the presentation rug aboard the winner, this lovely looking mare. Okay, that's old news. And yours ran a bit of a race too, Quiet Style.
Yeah, we got a little run for our money, but couldn't sustain it, unfortunately, but won't deter me. I'll have another go.
So what are you going to do here? You're going to tip it favourite this time?
No, well, I do think the favourite's probably got a very good chance in the race, Peter, but I'm going to go with one again at odds. Number 13, Interest Only. Not a lot of luck at Moonee Valley last start, and the run before at Flemington was quite good. I thought she was a little bit of value here. Number 2, Rosa Watt, she'll be very hard to beat. Number 1, Grand Archway, fought on strongly last start. but she's got to be there too.
Yeah, I think Rose of War is the one here, Jen, and let's see, as we take a look at the selections of the experts, we might also survey the tote figures on race 5 and see what punters have made of it. And I have no doubt that Rose of War will be very popular. She is at $3.20. We've got round about the $14 mark for Grand Archway. Huge odds Zar Royale confers not without a hope each way at $14.20. Rose of Dane, the stablemate of Rose of War, $7.50, and we'll be keeping an eye on her in the mounting yard because she is pretty highly strung. Curio Jade, 40. Say Good Morning, 38. Oakstream, $16.20. Then we go over to No Alimony, which has come up particularly short at $5.10. Delquorin, 18. Love to Honour, 29. Zazabel, 12. Interest Only, the one that Jen likes at good odds, 28. And My Jasper at 20. So the favourite is number 2, Rose of War on the tote. What about in the betting ring, Tim Gossage?
Peter, the favourite is Rose of War in the betting ring as well. And just talking about the betting ring, you talked about the crowd. It is packed in here at the moment. I really do think the crowd is getting up above 75,000, at least if you can tell from the ring. As I said, Rose of War is the favourite. No Alimony and also Rose of Dane are considered the best horses to beat them. Speaking of Rose of War, it's jockey's Damien Oliver. He's just bought a hotel in Perth called the Mount Henry. They just got money on Bonanova, and I've got a feeling that we're offloading again on Rose of War.
Well, you've done yourself a favour there, Tim, because you've mentioned it on national television. I'm sure the drink card will be there for you when you get home.
Thank you very much.
Rose of War, the popular one here. Race 5, the Qantas Wakeful Stakes, traditional lead-up to the Crown Oak Stakes. That's coming up at 5 minutes past 2. Let's go back to Sandra Sully.
You do? Okay. You do just talk to me, Kate? But you've just joined us. We're back now. Thanks, Peter. And I have with me one of my favourite panellists from the very popular panel show on Wednesday nights. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I'm sure being a Melbourne girl, you've been to the odd Derby Day before.
I have, but I'm flying in the face of tradition today with my hatlessness, apparently.
That's okay. You're looking very glamorous nevertheless.
Thank you.
Now, how do you manage to hold up and you know, keep those men on their toes in the panel?
Well, I think it's always important to keep them guessing. So, you know, sometimes you get them guessing by just not showing up.
Are you generally? That's a good idea.
Yes.
I might try that. I don't know how the executive producers here would feel, but
I know.
Now, you've got to keep an eye on news and current affairs. Does that interest you?
I do breakfast radio on a radio station called Triple R in Melbourne, so I read the news every morning. I do what you do, but without cameras in my face. So I do it in my tracky dax. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah, so that sort of keeps you on your toes. I sort of know what's going on.
Do you enjoy the panel?
I love it.
It's just freewheeling, isn't it? And just a free rein for an hour and a half or so.
It's like conversation, public conversation with, you know, 4 other people that you find interesting. So that's always fun.
A big challenge for you each week?
Oh, definitely. And the live factor is phenomenal, which you'd be familiar with, of course.
A little bit today?
Yes.
Okay, now listen, we're here for Derby Day and we love the races. Tell us who's your tip today.
Okay, I can moz any horse, but I'm putting my money on Greg Hall on Runaway each way because I think his luck's got to change this year.
All right.
I think he's going to do it.
Good luck with the Derby, and of course we love you on the panel, so we'll just have to have a quiet word to the boys and make sure you're in there.
Okay, and I'll be watching you on the news.
Okay, thanks for joining us today. Great
Bye.
to have you with us. Stay with Network 10, of course. You can stay with the network that has live and exclusive coverage of Amy Victoria Derby Day, the big race coming up very shortly.
Respectful.
There you go, some lovely images of South Bank in Victoria, overlooking the Yarra River and the city, the precinct housing some of Melbourne's finest shops and restaurants. And of course, for international visitors, when you come to Melbourne, make sure you visit South Bank. It is certainly a treat. Well, one of the great aspects of the carnival, of course, is the quality of the riders that are attracted to Flemington from Australia, and of course not just Australia but around the world. By the end of this week, the best of the best will be honoured with an award from one of Australia's greatest all-time jockeys, Ron Hutchison.
His name has been a household one in Australian racing for decades. And this year, for the 4th time, Ron Hutchison is lending that name to the award for excellence in riding at the Melbourne Cup Carnival. Must be great to have your name on something like that.
Well, yes, it certainly is, Pete, because I'm, you know, very proud to have, be associated with it, and very honoured to think the VRC would sort of give my name to a trophy. And as I say, I enjoyed very much going to the races there and watching the riders ride, and hopefully pick the best jockey that wins.
Ron will award a maximum of 10 points per ride and a maximum of 20 points in total for each of the 6 Group 1 events, as well as the Group 2 Emirates Classic.
The jockey doesn't have to be the winner, as long as he rides the best race, or what I consider the best race, and gives the best horse or the chance.
Shane Dye won the first Excellence Award in 1995. Since then, Greg Hall has achieved the honour in 96, while Greg Childs was acclaimed rider of the Carnival last year. Given the wealth of talent in the riding ranks, Ron knows it's going to be no easy task.
They'd be good anywhere because they're good jockeys and horses run well for them. So England or Europe or America, they'd still do well.
Sponsored by Emirates Air for the 3rd year, the award is valued at $3,000. But that's an amount that is unlikely to be matched by the proceeds of Ron's punting this carnival.
I'm a $10 punter, and it's got to be a good thing for me to put that on too.
Ron Hutchison with one of the more prestigious awards of this carnival. Tim Webster's out and about as usual. I understand he's caught up with one of the chief executives of the VRC.
Sandra Racecourse Manager Ross Bradfield joins me now. Ross, hi.
Hello, Tim.
Beautiful day.
Yes, thank God the sun's shining, and it was a little bit bleak earlier, but I think it's going to be a great race day today.
Be fabulous. Now, you've made a lot of changes to the racecourse over the last couple of years in particular.
Indeed we have, and if we look at just the tracks area and the training area, we've obviously been able to remove a couple of crossings, which were always a concern, particularly for racing. We've built a large complex of new stables and spent in the order of $6 to $8 million. We've built a dirt track, as you probably know, yes, to add to our training facilities. It might be interesting for you to understand that we've gone from about 350 horses in training to somewhere between 700 and 800. So wow, the demand has certainly increased, and we've certainly done a lot of work on facilities to meet that challenge.
And a lot of things too to make it, well, more comfortable for the patrons.
Yes, we've only this year, ready for this carnival, we've completed the undercroft, which is the covered area immediately behind the winning post, and the club has spent $2.6 million in improving that, enclosing it with glass, and it's a terrific area for the public to view races from.
We love those big screens too.
Yes, well, we've got an additional 2 screens from last year, 4 of them along the straight, and they cover the full range of the lawn, and I think everyone will get a great view.
As usual, the place looks great. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Yes, the place does look great. The crowds are gathering, the sun is shining, and Flemington is at its most fabulous. Well, one of the more fabulous characters of the Melbourne Cup Carnival is, of course, Jimmy Cassidy. Last week at Moonee Valley, he provided some of turf's most magic moments. I wonder what Jimmy Cassidy has got in store for us this week.
So what's Jim Cassidy going to do this Cup Carnival? One thing's for sure, it won't be boring. Since bursting into Australian racing way back in 1983 on the stout-finishing Cup winner Kiwi, Jimmy has known well those imposters, triumph and despair. Banned for several seasons over race-tipping allegations, he returned last year to win the Caulfield and Melbourne Cups double on might and power. And yet within a few months, he'd been dumped in favour of Brian York. By the start of the spring, he was back in the Jack Denham fold, and you just know he'll be in the action this week. Apart from his 2 Melbourne Cups, he's also won 2 Victoria Derbies on Handy Proverb and Omnicorp, and 4 VRC Oaks. Take a ride with Jimmy this week. It's sure to be entertaining.
Over the next few days, we'll be showing you a very special tribute to a racing legend, of course, TJ Smith, who died in September earlier this year. You know, the Cup Carnival isn't quite the same without TJ. And Tommy Smith, as I said, died in September earlier this year. But, you know, the spirit of TJ is with us all this week. And, of course, Gay Waterhouse has mentioned in many times throughout the last couple of days how much she misses her dad. Let's take a look at a special feature on the legendary TJ Smith.
So it's Derby Day at Flemington, a day of top hat and tails, the best of the best. It's a royal day for which some horses and some men are destined. A special day of history and tradition when the Derby is celebrated for the stars it created. But on this Derby Day, today, we not only celebrate the past, but we mourn for it. Today marks the start of the first Melbourne Cup Carnival since the death of the greatest classics winner of them all, Tommy Smith, son of a struggling Riverina slaughterman, may not exactly have been born for Derby Day, but he was destined for it. Tommy, or TJ, or the Little General, trained the winners of 35 derbies around Australia, including 5 Victoria derbies, from the Great Tulloch in 1957 through Travel Boy in 59, Silver Sharp in 1970, Brewery Boy in 81, to Red Anchor in 1984. That's because TJ rose from his disadvantaged childhood to become a top hat and tails man, sipping champagne all the way. Even when his days of training Derby winners were all but over, he still relished the smell of spring. And the memory for him celebrating his darling daughter Gay's win with Nothing Like a Dane in the 1995 Amy Victoria Derby is perhaps the lasting image we'll take of him. TJ died after a stroke in September, just one day short of his 82nd birthday. For more than 4 decades, he was the immovable force behind an ever-changing racing industry. From his famous first horse, the aptly named Bragger, TJ set about changing the way racing presented itself to the public. Training the TJ way, every horse was a champion, and every microphone, camera, or notebook was an advertisement for his excellence. Not that he really needed advertising. He won the Sydney Training Premiership 33 years in a row. 33. And when he lost it and everyone said he was finished, he turned right around and won it again. He revolutionized the theories of track work by making his horses earn their tucker. He raced them hard, churning out a factory of bone and muscle galloping machines. In the next few days of the Cup Carnival, we'll have a look at some of the champions who are part of the TJ legend, like Tulloch and Kingston Town. And we'll look more at his greatest triumph, creating another champion to continue his dynasty. It's a day for toffs, all right, Derby Day. A day for kings and queens. But it's also a day for every Aussie battler who, like Tommy Smith, dared to rise above his station.
Gee whiz, he will be sorely missed this week, and of course our thoughts and hearts go out to Gay Waterhouse, as I'm sure she will be missing her dad ever so much this week. There you have the Whitman's Lightship, becoming a synonymous feature of our Melbourne Spring Carnival, always above Flemington and giving us wonderful pictures there. You can see they're emanating from the wonderful Whitman's Lightship of fabulous Flemington, and the sun is shining, the crowds have gathered. The main race, the Victoria Amy Derby, is less than an hour away, but we can't get there, you know, before race 5, the Wakeville Stakes. And Peter Donegan and Jenny Chapman are, of course, in the mounting yard. And Peter, who's looking hot for race 5?
Well, I think they all look magnificent.